Right.
Walk. Oh, he's right there. Hey everyone, I wanted to share some stuff that I'm developing here at home. I've been at this for a while now, but really been putting my audio out a lot within the last couple of months. I think I did about 20 nights in May and most nights here in June so far, and things are coming along quite nicely, slowly developing. I when I was at the cottage at one point, I think it was this past winter, I'd asked Neff's family if it was them that was visiting me here, showing their presence here, and they said no. And some of the actions I've witnessed, it shows me that it's not them. It's another family of Sasquatch. So I've had a lot of little feet running around, and at first it takes some time to discern and figure things out. There's a lot of audio listening. I do a lot because each night I throw my audio out, I don't know, maybe 11 o'clock, midnight sometimes, and I'll let it run throughout the night. And I get a lot of physical contact on the microphone. I get a lot of stick snaps and rock clacking and little knocks here and there. There's no vocals yet. So I hope to develop it to that point, as I did with Neff's family, which took about 8 months before Neff started yelling out. He was giving vocals before that, but not like he did when he started talking. I just absolutely love their voice, as I know you all do as well. So I really I hope things develop in this situation to the same level, if not more, considering it's at home. And I'm blessed to live in a beautiful spot. I'm surrounded by woods, and so what I do is I either strap my audio recorder to a small tree out back in the backyard here. It's about 5-6 feet off the ground. Or if I have my tent set up, and if I'm in my tent, there's a stump about 5 feet away from my tent, about 4 feet in height, and I place my audio recorder on there. So what I've captured recently, the little feat you're going to hear, that was June 10th, and there's a little one running around, and it sounds like he or she comes right up to my audio recorder. I'm in my tent snoring away, excuse the snoring, and it sounds like they're rubbing two rocks together vigorously. That's all I can figure out so far. That's what it sounds like to me. Just taunting me, having fun. And you know that the parents aren't far off when you hear how small these footsteps sound. Might even be 4 years old, that young. And I knew from Neff's family, I had an experience where I had met Neff's little sister at the time, and I believe it was her, because I found out their ages, right? And she was about 4 years old when this started. So it was an experience I'd had in a dream state, but I have learned they have this ability to make contact in that state. It's much more than a dream. I tend to always wake up as soon as it's over, and several of his family members have showed up that way. And when that situation or that experience happened, I could sense an older female in my peripheral, and she brought a little child to me whose hand I held in that state, and I felt all her emotions like they were my own. And I remember giving my hand just a little shake purposely. I was in that state. I actually had control to purposely do that, to get a reaction from her, which I did. And I had this explosion of energy run up through my arm, through my body, and I felt everything she felt. She was so excited but freaked out at the same time. She didn't pull away. And then it was over, and I woke up from that, and I was just absolutely mind blown. Neff has shown up in that state on one occasion, at least one occasion, and I believe it's his father. He also showed up in that state, and I shook his hand, actually two of his fingers, because his hands were so huge. And I remember in that dream, he was about 12 feet tall. He'd stepped out from the woods. I was walking this road, and I looked up to him. He had a very soft, gentle look on his face, and that was about the time when things had gone south for a while, and between Dwayne and myself, and with the cottage situation, I was going through a lot of roller coaster ride of emotions. It was about 15 months of that, and I guess they waited till they figured I was in a proper mental state to continue on with the interactions, and that's when he showed up. And next thing I know, I had this new location in Neff's area, because it's all private around there, so it's very difficult to find land that you can pitch a tent on. I ended up approaching some people because somebody contacted me that happened to know people that had land in that area, and they didn't know where Neff's location was at all. It just ended up having to be within minutes as the crow flies from Dwayne's cottage, which was also just absolutely mind-blowing. Anyways, so at this point, I've been slowly developing this situation here, and I'm listening to an awful lot of audio. It's a lot of white noise. I've done this for the last dozen years, especially the last 8 years documenting Neff's family. As a researcher, and I never even really looked at myself as one. It's just something that happened in my life that I've continued with. But there's a lot of people involved in this subject, and everybody does things differently, their own way. Mine has been with audio much of the time, although I've been blessed with the contact with Neff's family, developing the written communication in that, which is just astounding. I don't do that here. It's not at that point. I have put out a chalkboard and chalk out back. So far, nothing. So far, no vocals. There's been a couple, actually, tiny little peeps that are close to my audio that, make me raise my eyebrows, but nothing really significant at this point. It's a slow baby step process, and it's very similar to how it developed with Neff's family at the beginning. It's the same thing. I see it happening. I see it unfolding. At first, I'm not sure, and the little things are happening. These physical contact or taps on the microphone, and when it's strapped to a tree, and it's not something a raccoon is going to climb. It's just a small tree out back, and a lot of the nights are dead still. So I hear the animals moving around or whatever it is. And it's it's usually easy enough to discern what something is, if it's an animal or if it's them. A lot of the time, especially with the little ones, they can make themselves sound very animalistic, and so it takes some time to discern those footsteps. And it's like, okay, is that bipedal? No, it doesn't sound like it. Is that a deer? But then it walks up and taps the microphone or snaps a stick. Whenever I set up my audio, I have a method that I use. I'll pat my chest and I'll state my name. I tell them what the audio recorder does. They already know that though, because they're walking right up to it. And I've had some big footsteps. This is the thing that really got me excited recently, although I'm already excited about this. But it was May 30th, when it was about 2:00 in the morning. And I'm going to play this piece of audio for you too. And at the beginning, there's the little footsteps running around a bit. I'm going to leave that in. Now I'm going to cut a chunk out because there's some empty space in there. I'll put the timestamp of how much space I cut out. And then big guy or man or woman walks in right up to my audio recorder, gives it a tap, and it's very loud. It's a dead still night. You can hear the leaves crunching loudly. under his or her feet. And it's what's interesting is when they leave, there's some sniffing that goes on that sounds very animalistic as well, very primal sounding. And personally, I know from experience, it's their people. You know, a lot of people would question things, and I'm a skeptic first before anything. But I've been doing this long enough and been blessed with literally hundreds and hundreds of encounters with Nest family. So it's given me a really good insight into how their people interact with humans. So when this individual walks up right up to my audio, gives it a tap and does the sniffing, you can hear how loud they come in with the footsteps. But when they leave, it's a different story. You don't hear them walk away like that. You hear them walk away, but it's more at a distance, which to me, that was exciting too, because that's showing their abilities, their interdimensional abilities. They don't walk away right from the tree. They walk away from a distant. So I'm actually not going to cut anything out after that. So I think there's a bit of dead space in there. The whole file is about 17 minutes, but I'm going to cut a big chunk out because some of the dead space before he or she walks up to the microphone. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what I'm developing here at home. And it's not just Neff's family anymore. I'm hoping to develop this situation to the point where they start vocalizing, and it would just absolutely blow my mind to be able to share vocals from another family with you. So I'll give you a little video footage out back, what I got set up. And I've done little experiments too, where there's things that have happened that have had to been done by hands. And this is in the middle of the night. And there's nobody screwing around here. It's extremely difficult for a human to walk up and me not know it because of the audio and what I get to listen to. I can hear all the details. And especially with the big one, that big guy, big woman that walks in, the sniffing alone is just, it's a bit of a wow factor. I had a girlfriend mention to me, the first thing she thought was bear, and while it's possible bears can come around here, it's unlikely. They have been witnessed in the area, but it's not something that is common around here for sure. Even though this is quite a bit of woods around here, it's not the actions of a bear. Anyways, when they walk up, they're not going to tap my audio recorder and sound like they're walking bipedally. And it's just, as I mentioned, my experience in this, I'm quite confident that I have another family of Sasquatch here slowly revealing their existence to me, and I hope to develop that and share that with you. So this is my backyard. I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have this situation where I can just walk from my back door and be surrounded by woods. I have a little spot set up here in the back where I have my tent and where things have been developing quite nicely lately. I just want to show you what's going on here. A bit of rain happening, but it's not too bad. It was pouring earlier. So this little tree right here, so I sometimes strap my audio, I Velcro it at 5-6 feet off the ground here, and I'll consistently get a physical contact on the microphone, and you're going to hear the big footsteps. They walk in, and they walk basically right up to this tree about 2 o'clock in the morning, and give the mic a tap, and then they leave. I built that. I put that. They've done nothing to that. It's not been touched. I had some stuff here that have been moved around, and there was a incident where hands had to have manipulated it. So there's little things that happen. And then when I'm not in my tent, I tend to strap my audio to the tree. When I am in my tent, this stump here, about 4 feet off the ground roughly, and about 5 feet from my tent, I put the audio right here. So I had an incident days ago in which little feet come running up, and my audio was sitting right on there, and it sounds to me like the little one's taking 2 rocks and vigorously rubbing them together, basically taunting me, and I'm snoring away in the tent there, just completely oblivious to what's going on. So I got this, that I spent a few nights in it recently. I just if I'm not home or if it's raining, obviously I'm not doing that. I got my little guy buried back here, my little guy Minus. That was he was a blessing in my life. So this is basically my backyard. Like I said, very fortunate to have this. And sometimes in the winter I was putting a trail cam back here sometimes, but it's not for Sasquatch activity. It's basically I just wanted to see what was back there. I did capture some fisher footage, which was really cool. I'll actually throw a little clip of that on there just to show you, because it's just not something I see every day, right? So it's beautiful back here, and I love having the rain. Makes everything lush. Alright, so I'm going to put on some of this audio just to show you basically what I look for, listen for, and how they show up sometimes. And it's a development that it's a baby step process, and they tend to give more and more and more and more and more. And this is how it's been with Neff's family, and I'm basically I'm hoping to develop things in a similar process. So rain's picking up, so I'm gonna head back into the house and finish making this video for you. So I hope you enjoy.